I love bread. I really have a very strong feeling that I don't want to eat like crap today. Good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning and I am in line for a ferry. I have to take a ferry today for work. It is gonna be a long day. I actually have to take several ferries today for some clients of mine that are way away from where I usually am. So here I am in line this morning, and I've done the best that I can to prepare for today because I really have a very strong feeling that I don't want to eat like crap today. Like I just don't want that. I've had such crappy eating lately, and I'm just getting out of a funk that I don't, just thinking about eating lunch is just like stressing me out. I did what I could to prepare, but I realized that I don't really have the ability to pack a lunch in the same way that I would have pre-surgery. I can't really think of anything that I would take with me, especially that I have access to in my house right now, that isn't refrigerated, for example, like cheese and meats and yogurts and things. And I can't really make myself like a sandwich. I don't really eat sandwiches because I don't really like bread. I don't really like, I love bread. But I can't really eat sandwiches. I just can't eat that much bread anymore. And so I could do something on like flatbread or like lavash. I know lavash sits really well with me. Some of those flatbreads are fine, and I could theoretically do a sandwich with them, but I don't have any of that on hand. I don't typically keep it in the house because just a lot of times it'll go bad before I have a chance to use it. So I couldn't really think of any way to pack a lunch for myself today. But I also realized that, when it comes to eating, even though my brain still says you need some sort of meal, some sort of lunch or something, in practice, I think just eating little bits of stuff throughout the day when I'm hungry would suffice because I don't eat that much. So I grabbed some protein bars. I grabbed a bag of baked chips. I grabbed, it's not really a granola bar, but I just grabbed some things that could satisfy me in a pinch. And if I absolutely need something of more substance later today, then I'm going to see what my options are and do the best that I can. But I might be able to do things based on what I have. So that's what I'm trying. We'll see how it goes. I also made sure to grab a couple of Gatorades. I filled my water bottle up. I already had my protein coffee on the drive here. So hopefully I'll be able to stay hydrated and not, have to resort to buying stuff on the ferry because those things are expensive. So I'm doing the best that I can in a situation that I figured is probably pretty relatable to people, either traveling for work or just traveling in general. Trying to make the most out of a situation that you don't have a whole lot of control over. I mean, there's some control, and that's what I'm trying to do is exhibit the control that I do have. But yeah, we'll just have to see how today goes. I am not as tired as I thought I would be for getting, only 6.5 hours of sleep. But yeah, I'm ready for the day. And I'm not going to get home tonight until after 6 p.m. So this is a full day of stuff. So we'll have to see. So I'm done with my first meeting and I've been wandering around town, and it occurred to me that the easiest thing to do would be to go to the store. So I went to the store to grab a couple things of a little bit more substance for lunch today, and I ended up some pretty yummy stuff. They had a potato and leek soup, so I got a really small cup of potato and leek soup, a couple of cheeses, one apple, and some lunch meat. I was looking for some sort of protein, some sort of, meat option, and, really small store, really small area. So the best I could get was just some deli meat that I found. So I got the turkey and ham option. What's really great is that, when you do something like that, it was about $11, way cheaper than if I were to buy food on the ferry, which I don't even know if they have food. I know they have vending machines, and way cheaper than going out to eat, which is going to give me other things anyway. So this is going to be for my lunch. I did eat a little wafer thing. I'll have to find those so that you can see what I'm eating, these peanut butter wafers. I ate one of those to tide me over after my meeting, and this is probably something that I will eat on the ferry. I've got about an hour right around lunchtime, and then immediately have to go to an appointment as soon as I drive off the ferry. So that's the way things are going this morning. But so far so good. I'm feeling really good about my choices. I'm feeling really good about the options. And no matter how much I was sitting there thinking like, oh man, today is going to be such a drag and such a long day. I mean, look at this. What a beautiful view, what a beautiful thing that I get to experience and get paid for today. So trying to see all the positives and really starting to enjoy the day now that it's not 4 a.m. Oh, the wonderful rumble of the ferry. I am just sitting here enjoying my front row view. I don't ride the ferry very often. I certainly don't ever get to be in the front. So it's pretty cool to be able to just kind of sit here and see everything out in front of me. I wanted to give an update on what I was able to eat, because I know that is always a big thing. I showed everything I purchased, but not what I ate. So I ate one of the cheeses. The other cheese, I can't do it. So I'm going to save that for later, although it's going to be warm. So I may need to save it and put it in the fridge at home so it can cool down again. I ate most of my soup. Not all of it, but most of it. And then I had about 2 slices of each kind of lunch meat. I had a couple slices of the turkey and a couple slices of the ham. And I was able to eat, this is a huge apple. I wouldn't even quite call it half. It's almost half of the apple. And then I decided that was enough. So what's really great about that is that I will be able to snack on things when I'm waiting for the ferry again to go home, because that'll be right around dinner time. I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do for dinner because it's gonna be pretty late, but I got plenty of food here to tide me over, so I may not even have like a normal dinner. I may just kind of snack on what's left for dinner, and I'm gonna be really tired when I get home. But yeah, so far, really great use of my time and money. I am pretty happy. I feel very satisfied with the meal that I just had. Did not have to go out, did not have to try to navigate a restaurant menu or something. And I just feel Like this is the basics of what I eat. This is what I try to do on a good day because it makes me feel the best. It doesn't bog me down. It doesn't upset my stomach. It, you know, gives me a little fresh fruit, a little protein, a little fat from the cheese. And yeah, it just makes me feel the best. So when I'm on my game, I love it. So I'm editing all the footage together and it just ends abruptly. And I realized that it might need a little bit of a gentle outro because that just isn't acceptable. The rest of the day went really well. I went and I had my other appointment, and then I waited in a ferry line for a while. I drove around the island because I had some time to waste. Every time I got hungry, which honestly is every, 3 hours or so these days, I had all that food left over that I was able to eat. So it was really nice because I did eat like the second half of my apple after the doctor's appointment. I snacked on a little bit more of the lunch meat, and I had the other cheese while I was sitting on the ferry on the way home. But ultimately, the food that I purchased earlier that day ended up lasting me all throughout the day, and I even had a little bit of leftovers that I put in the fridge for later use. So it was a really good way to use that $11. It went really far, much further than going out to eat would have, and that's kind of a touristy area, so going out to eat would have really probably gotten me something like fish and chips or something that just wasn't going to make me feel good and wasn't going to get me through the day. I felt very on point, very under control. I was able to drink a lot throughout the day. I just felt like that was probably the best way that I could have handled that, aside from something that I'm probably going to do in the future, which is have a small packable cooler to take with me. Because I think in certain situations, especially when I drive to other offices and I'm out and about for work, having a small cooler, a small, at least a cool bag would be really, really helpful for certain situations where I can bring things like meat and cheeses and stuff with me and not have to worry about the fact that I'll be in the car all day or something like that. Past me, pre-surgery me, would have looked for any excuse if I'm out and about to order food or to go to a restaurant. I did that a lot. If I was out and about for work, it was kind of a moment where I was like, ooh, I get to have lunch today. It was like I gave myself a pass for it because I was busy. And it's just not necessary, and something that I have found it's just not necessary, and I have found that there are really easy ways to go about that, to combat that, without throwing myself into a tailspin of trying to figure out what on earth I'm going to do about my food situation, which in all honesty shouldn't be a big deal anymore. So I hope it was helpful, just kind of trying to see how I approached a day where I felt initially like I had very little control over the situation and I wasn't really sure how it was going to end, and I was just hoping for the best. And when I take a moment to think about it and to prepare myself, it's really not as hard as I think it's going to be. It's a doable situation. I think a lot of times people think after surgery that their life is going to be so different, that everything they do is going to have a totally different approach to it. And, there's just like no normal life after surgery. But it's not the case. Things do go back to normal. I won't lie, the first several months and honestly the first year is really tough and has a lot of adjustment, but life does go back to normal. Things are manageable, and it just becomes kind of a routine, and you start to realize what fuels you and what you can do to help keep that going. So thanks so much for watching. Stay happy and healthy. Always remember to take a look at the big picture, and I will see you guys in the next one.